As the price of silver is skyrocketing past $100 and the DXY is dropping, I can't stop this feeling that's been inside of me for a few months now. It's been driving me a little bonkers, to be honest with you. I want to tell you about a conversation with a friend that I had the other night. I want to talk about a conversation I had with Jeffrey Christensen. I think it's Christensen of the CPM group. If anyone's been in silver for a long time, they know who Jeffrey Christensen is, and they don't usually think very highly of him. But I want to talk about an encounter I had with him when we were speaking together at a silver symposium. And then I also want to talk about all of these cycles and what I'm truly concerned with, because I'm going to state again for the record, I think silver is the most incredible investment of our time. I believe that silver will be on par with gold, meaning that an ounce of silver eventually, someday, will be what an ounce of gold is worth. But I don't think it's happening the way everyone thinks it is all at once. And I'm really concerned because I want to show people how to invest and take wins so that they will go and invest again. So I'm going to reach all that. So let's start with the phone conversation I had with a friend. I called him. I said, hey, look, I'm getting a ton of backlash ever since I started saying to start taking profits in silver. He watches extremely successful man. He watches every one of my videos, and he said, you came across really harsh when you started talking about, people, sort of this panic mania that's going on with different YouTube channels with it's something disconnected, but you came across harsh. So for that, I'm sorry, because this video is being recorded live and I'm just a human and I don't get it all right. But I've been here long enough in this market and I've been that victim, buying it up, riding it all the way to the top and then riding it all the way back down and not being able to recover my money for over 12 years. That's rough. And I don't want to see people go through that. I want people to have unbelievable experiences when it comes to silver. It's so rare, it's insane. When I hear of somebody taking their silver and selling some and paying off their debt, that's amazing, as long as they never get back into debt, right? Because then they have this good, this good memory of silver. Like I use silver to pay off my debt, or I use silver to buy a house, or, that's important. Sure, there's people that say, you see it all in the comments all the time, I'll never sell my silver. I'll die with it, it's going to my kids. That's awesome. You want to know why? Because in the Bible, it says a good man stores up money for his children's children. That's epic. Everyone has a different reason to own silver. But the thing is, when you look at the charts and you look at how fast, on a long-term chart, it seems like overnight it spikes up and it comes back down. None of us truly know where this price is going. Quite frankly, it's shocking me that it's already over 100 this fast. And the fact that it's not being covered in the normal media like it was in 2012, that's another interesting thing to me. Things just don't feel together. So let me tell you about the story of Jeffrey Christian. He works for a company, or runs the company, I don't remember, CPM Group. And his company is, if I have it correctly, they price silver for a bunch of massive banks. To say that he is involved in the pricing of silver is sort of an understatement. And he's always been incredibly bearish on it. And I went to speak at a silver symposium. Matter of fact, I was the host of the silver symposium. It was in, I don't even remember where it was. It was up in Washington, I believe. And he was there, and I was shocked that he was one of the speakers because he's so negative on silver. And when he came up and speak, there was actually an altercation between some other people and Jeffrey, yelling at each other and stuff. And everybody was almost booing him in the crowd. At a certain point, it was my turn to actually speak. And Jeffrey had been saying multiple times, there are a lot of crazy people that think that silver is just going to go on this crazy tear. And he was somewhat insulting them. Well, I got up on stage and I looked at Jeffrey and I said, Jeffrey, just, I'm one of those crazy silver conspiracy theorists that believe silver one day is going to be on par with gold. It's going to absolutely spike and blow up. As a matter of fact, well, that's a story for another day, but I also said some good things about Jeffrey. Well, later that day, he came up to me and he asked me, why didn't you insult me? Everyone else is insulting me. He's just used to it. And I said back then, and to be honest with you, I've gotten really jaded since then. I said, what good would that do? You know? And he said something to me, as I was trying to warn people to go buy silver and why it's so important. He said, they'll never listen to you. I'll never forget that. And I said, they will. The right ones will. Well, fast forward 3 years and I've become so jaded. It's crazy because, after this last year with crypto, I was trying to show people how to buy and sell crypto. The entire crypto market's down, right? There are people out there running around going, I'm hyping this, I'm hyping that. I'm not hyping anything. I'm talking about what I own. And like the things that they're talking about, I still own, and my position's down like 30%, right? People don't understand these cycles. And for every single time that I come out and a crypto would be going up, and I would say, hey, you've doubled or tripled your money, pull back your initial investment, pull it back. And some people listen, others don't. And then they just look for the first person to blame. And to be honest with you, I never saw myself in this position, to the point where now I'm like, you know what? I think I've got to always come up with these ways to teach and show people. So I got to start putting timestamps on my videos, because people to this day, there are hackers that now, or I don't know what there are. They just take my videos, mesh them together, and they're making shorts to pump those cryptos later using my name. It's not even my channel, it's my videos all meshed up together. It's absolutely insane. It's a scary world we live in right now, because a lot of people just get sold a bag of goods that they think are going to be great because they didn't want to do any of the research themselves, and then they get left holding the bag. I know people that got wrecked in silver when they bought it at $45 or $50 an ounce in 2011. I believe that's the year. Again, I'm not polished like all those other channels out there. I'm just talking in my truck. They got wrecked and they sold at a loss, and they never wanted to look back again. And for the last 12 years, they were right. The price never went back up to that price. Well, now here we are. We've completely spiked. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I, as nice as I can without being jaded, to be honest with you, how do I show people that first, silver is the most amazing investment ever? And I still believe it's going to go crazy. I believe that XRP someday will be $10,000 each. That's just me, though. But someday, right? I've been caught up in those investments where it's like you're putting all of it in. I put all my eggs into silver in 2011, right? And then I just had to, instead of selling it, I never sold it at a loss, because I do believe in it. And I think it's just freaking awesome what's happening right now. But I'm also nervous how fast and how straight up it's gone. I'm looking at, but we're in a different spot. I mean, everything's going up right now versus the dollar, right? We're in a worldwide panic. But it is very interesting to me that, yeah, China curbed or stopped its exports of silver. But if you look at the export numbers, those numbers are not that big. Silver has never been a massive exporter of silver. And when you look at the numbers and you break them down per country that they send them out to, outside of the Panda, the Silver Panda allocations, Hong Kong was the largest country allocated for Chinese silver. And most people don't understand that Hong Kong is part of China. And that's not a big thing. It's just there was a bunch of weird things going on with Great Britain and China, and leasing of the land and stuff. So that's one thing that just sort of throws me off. The future is being so much China I've seen before, and the only precious metal that I've ever seen run this hard on such a short period of time is rhodium. Rhodium ran super hard in 2005. Historically, it had been about half the price of gold. Mid 2004, 2005 comes along. Russia says, we're going to X rhodium shipments, and they were a major producer, and it just ran. And it ran from about $200 an ounce to around $14,700 an ounce, if my memory serves me right, in 2005. And then an epic crash happened where it crashed down to 6,000. Now, a couple of interesting things that happened during the rhodium time was that when rhodium went to 14,000, no one would buy your rhodium. No coin shop, nobody wanted to touch it. It was too volatile. That's an issue that happens with a lot of precious metals when they do spike. Coin shops, big buyers, hey, we're not going to buy. We're afraid that it's going to drop, right? And another thing that happened, and it crashed spectacularly to 6,000, which on a longer term scale was at that point, I think double what gold was, or not double. It was way more, but my point being it was a lot more, right? Then it ran again during COVID, and it ran to like $28,000 an ounce. And back then, people were even saying, I can't sell it, and a lot of people don't realize that rhodium was actually minted by the US Mint for a long time, right? Those are the kind of things I want people to watch out for. Like, be aware of the taxes of silver. A lot of channels don't cover that, or they put out infographics that are totally wrong. You got to pay taxes on silver. And I think a lot of people, unless they've done it really slick where they bought in cash and they were able to sell it in cash, hey, there you go. Who knows? It's a cash transaction, right? But there are a lot of people that haven't kept their cost basis, and then they go sell with an online dealer, and then online dealer is tracking their stuff. And as of right now, all silver has to be reported to the IRS from a silver buyer, a bullion buyer, minus Silver Eagles. But what if that changes? And I think a lot of people will just be absolutely blown away, right? Now, something I want to share with you right now as we're live, because this is really, really important to share, because I don't think people get the big picture. Let's do this. I'm going to open up my phone and pull out a chart. And sorry, it'll probably be backwards. I've never been able to figure out how to, let's do this. Chart 40 years, 30 years. Let's do 20 years. All right. It's like you can never find the right chart when you're live, right? So I have my numbers off instead of 6,000. So it ran into, oh, no, I got the wrong chart. Yeah, see, rhodium went through, this is a chart up to 2005, where rhodium ran to like 5,000, tanked down to 600. Then it ran up here to 6,000, and then it started to tank. And I cannot find the right chart. Why can't I do it? This is awkward. It's always embarrassing. Here we go, time frame. All right. So in 2005, it's not even, there we go. Cool. Sweet. All right. So in 2005 is when the run started right here. It started cranking up right here, and it topped out around $9,300, right? It crashed down to actually a little over $1,000. Okay. Now this is what happened during COVID, which was absolutely just insane. Let me see if my numbers are right. $28,000. And now it came back down to like the 5,000 range, and now it's ticking back up around 10,000. My point being is that these things can be very volatile, because precious metals don't always stay up over the long term, because they're based off of geopolitical events. And that's what we have right now. So I want everybody to be aware of, I mean, you've seen how many times Trump has tacoed and just flipped the narrative, and all of a sudden everything flips. You're like, what the heck? I thought we were going down, or I thought we were going up, and now it's upside down. This 2026, like I said, is going to be massively volatile. And I'm sorry if my bitterness has come out, because there's so many people, like if you watch my XRP videos or XCN videos or any of those crypto videos where I said, hey guys, I'm selling, I'm going to sell, I'm going to take some off the table, like a 20% or 30%. Every single one of those videos, I've kept them all, because one day it'll be a learning lesson in those videos. Like, you're wrong, it's going to keep going higher. You're wrong, it's going to keep going higher. And sometimes it didn't go higher. It just started to drop, a week or two later, because the whole market dropped. Others, like XRP, when I said, hey, I sold half of mine, I sold it at $2.20. It ran from $2.20 all the way to $3.50. And people the whole time were just laughing. And a lot of those same people are still holding it when it's, $1.90. Okay, as long as you're okay with it, that's cool. As long as you're like, dude, I make enough money, I can keep stacking. That's great. This message is for the people that can't. And I just want you to have those wins. Okay, that's why taking back your initial investment is such solid investment advice, because I've learned the hard way. And every time I took it back and I took that initial investment, that's capital. Your capital now goes towards something else to let that grow. It's a seed. That's what you're supposed to do. If it's always in one plant, in one little garden, it can only grow so much. But if it's split up, different seasons bring different growing patterns. And that's why I think it's really, really important. All right. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.